Frank, in terms of away performances, I think that's as good as I've seen you guys play. What was your assessment for the game?
Yeah, I think on chances created, we create some good chances to score, you know, and it's just frustrating we don't really hit the target when we should in certain areas, and they get done, you know, on a goal. Obviously it's a great finish by Nagamura, good bowling, good finish, but you know, we had enough to get at least a goal, so it's just disappointing we can come away with nothing out of the game.
What frustrated you most, the inability to finish, the switching off at the back, or some of the questionable referee decisions?
We bring up the last point. I'm still trying to work out why David got sent off and why Jeff didn't have a penalty kick. But you know, I haven't seen the replay, so I can't really get into it. But it looked a penalty kick where I'm sitting. But again, I'm not close to the play. I thought we deserved the draw out of the game, to be honest. You know, I think Peter would probably say the same thing. We had enough chances to have scored at least a goal. I thought Kansas were good first half. I thought you know, hit the crossbar, some chances, but so did we. You know, some little nicks and stuff around the goal that I think we had a good chance to keep him in a good save on. But just, you know, it's frustrating to play pretty well second half for a team. You know, at a place like this, it's difficult to come to, and they're a good side, and played pretty well and not get nothing out of it. So it's a little frustrating.
Defensively, did Sporting look any different? Do anything differently with Tim in net as opposed to what you'd probably seen on video with Luis, who'd been starting for him this season?
Not really. I mean, you know, whatever Peter does with his team, you know, he changes things, and obviously it's a coach's decision. But you know, nothing changed from us. We had the same game plan coming in. I thought it worked pretty well. I thought that you know, what I didn't want to do is come in here and sit back and try to see what happens, because you do that, then you're going to get beat. I would think the inability first half for us to keep the ball and kind of penetrate, other than a few sort of good forays forward. First half I thought we didn't really have the game plan. Second half I thought we did well. I thought we were on top of the game. I thought we bossed it a little bit, and again, you know, the goal was kind of out of the blue a little bit, and you know, once that happens, it's football. It's a weird one. You're on top, you think you're going to win, and all of a sudden, bang, goal, and then you're like, oh, okay, now we're going to sort of change things. So, not really. I mean, you know, they're a good side. They're at home. They're going to go after it, and they did.
Coach, it seemed like there was a lot of space between your back line and the midfield. Was that a product of the game, or was that a game plan to leave that much space in there for Sporting's midfield?
It wasn't a game plan. You know, we've got to make sure we're tight defensively and a good unit. I think that the conditions and just the travel, and maybe, you know, sometimes you come away from home, you feel a little bit leggy, and it's not an excuse. You just feel they don't quite get going. We looked a little, well, we weren't sharp throughout the first half, I thought second half we started to kind of get our wind and start to get into the game. You know, I said Kansas City always start very, very strong at home. They're going to get at you. I think once the level dropped down to level par, I thought we played well. So I thought their energy coming out as a home team to start with was good. I thought that we matched it, and I said to the guys at halftime, good news is it's 0-0. You know, we're in this game. We've had a few chances. They've had a few. But let's try to, you know, change things now and try to push it on. I thought we pushed on, and again, I think maybe a draw would have been fair.
It seemed like when Quincy came in, he gave you kind of a spark, but it didn't seem like the cohesion was quite there in the attacking third. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think the final ball and the final touch is what's missing right now with us. We've done pretty well at home, but away from home, we've not really, you know, finished off great moves. I think that Sean had some great situations wide where he jinks a little bit and gets a good ball across, but we're not really there to bury it. And I think that's our Achilles heel right now. We're not really getting those 6 yard, 12 yards and in chances where we bury. I think that's, you've got to get those in any league, or especially our league, to win games. And I think that's the thing that maybe just lacking at the moment. It's not from belief and not trying, but it's just kind of just off a little bit right now.
Coach, what was your impression of their goalkeeper play today?
Yeah, did well. Yeah, fine. We did fine.
Let's help.
That final ball, is it, I feel like that's a confidence thing, or is it cohesion? You know, why aren't you guys finishing off that or making that final pass?
I guess it's a combination, you know, confidence / maybe not making quite the right runs at the right time. But we had enough chance. I mean, you know, Willie had a good chance to hit the target, so did Quincy, in good areas. And, you know, you've got to hit the target when you're in a good spot in the box. You know, just make the keeper work. If he saves it, great. If he doesn't, then you score. So we did not make the goalkeeper work in 2 situations I thought were good for us. And then that's the game. You don't give many chances. You're probably 6 per team per game. We had 2 really good ones, I thought, from Willie and Quincy. We didn't hit the target, so we didn't score.
Thank you. Can I bring you right to questions for Manager Peter Vermes and goalkeeper Tim William?
Tim, first off, first start in a year, coming up with a clean sheet. How's it feel to be back out there and get that shutout?
It was great for me. I think it was even more important for the team. That's a result we really needed moving forward, and I hope we can build off of that.
Peter, is the goalkeeping situation wide open now, or is this something that you just thought Luis needed some time off, or what's the situation?
Seriously? What is this, quarterback day or what? Yeah. Tim had a very good game, and that's it. That's where we are right now.
Talk about the overall performance of the defense today in terms of keeping them from getting that good look in the
we were listen, I think we were okay. I don't think we were great. I thought, this is what I'll say, the first 25 minutes I think we were very good as a team. We were anticipating, we were aggressive, we were on the front foot. I think then they grabbed the next 15 so minutes, maybe last 10 really they grabbed it. I think like for a little while there it was kind of back and forth, and then the last 10 they were kind of in control. We couldn't string 10 passes or 3 passes together. Second half, I think neither team really wanted to open up the way it did, but the game did, just because everybody was really now trying to see if they could search for a counterattack or some type of opportunity at goal. So the game did get a little bit more opened up, and the one thing is good about us is that I thought we were really, really good on defensive set pieces today. I thought we were good on attacking set pieces, and then I also think that at the end we figured out a way how to keep a clean sheet and battle when we needed to.
That first flurry in the early 20 minutes, you had to make those 2 saves instead of, I guess, correctly 2. And that, did you feel like you were getting for a long game when you had to make that many stops early?
No, I didn't think that at all. I think we just needed to calm ourselves down a little bit and repossess the game and take control again. I agree with what Peter said. It was kind of an up and down game for us, but we got the result. We got the shutout, and that's important.
Kind of following up on that, in the 13th minute they had that one shot where you had to make the diving save. Could you just talk about that? In what ways did you feel like that maybe that play maybe kind of helped us set the tone defensively?
I think it just builds confidence for the guys in front of me that I'm back there to help them out where I can, and I think it gave us a little more energy, and that was when we had our best spell. I would think around the 15th minute was when we started controlling the game.
You haven't started a game for a while, so was it a little bit different for you? I mean, you looked really confident out there to start the game, but was it? I mean, this is the first time in a while that you've been out there, so I mean, was it a different feel or?
Yeah, Robo informed me it was a year since my last red card. After the game. No, obviously getting an early touch helps calm the nerves, but I felt good. I felt confident.
Usually it's with your hands, but he did it with his head, which when that happened, I knew it was all going to be good.
Peter, could you tell the difference between Tim and Luis in terms of communication between the two? And with that, has there been an issue at all with the language barrier? We kind of talked about that with Luis at all. Has there been any issue?
Yeah, I played in 3 different countries myself, and so the game's international. You know, it's a worldwide language. You understand how to play the game. I don't think it's ever a communication problem. I just don't. It's different when you say it's a communication problem because somebody doesn't want to listen. That's another thing, but that's not the issue. Look, Tim, as I've said, Tim's been very sharp in training. He's got a lot of confidence. You can see it tonight, as you stated just a moment ago, the way he looked out there. And I think sometimes it's good for a player, whether he's a goalkeeper or a player on the field, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes it's good for them to get a chance to sit back and watch and almost regroup and get refocused again. But at the same time, that opens up an opportunity for someone else. So look, Tim played very well, and we'll continue to move and try to get better from here.
You talk about Tim and training better and doing well lately, but the decision not to play Luis, was that part to get him kind of mentally right again, or was it performance-based?
I think that he hasn't been as sharp as I think he should be. I think maybe he's lacked a little presence at times and confidence. And look, he's had a couple chances here lately that I think if you're watching the game, you think maybe the goalkeeper should make that save. It happens sometimes. It's not as if he's a bad goalkeeper. It's not that he has bad qualities and all these other things. It's just that maybe it's been a little much at this point. But the bottom line is that that's why you have 2, 3 players in each position, because when somebody's maybe not in form or something's happening or they get injured or whatever it might be, you bring somebody else in. I've always made it very clear to all the guys on our team. The bottom line is that you can call me every name in the book because I don't put you in the lineup. And I really don't care if you do. The bottom line though is when you get your chance, you better make sure that you're ready, because when you get it, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have this bad attitude or be upset with me, and that it takes your focus on how you play. Because if you go out there and you play poorly, that's now not going to help you in the future. So from Tim's point of view, look, he's been working. He's been working very hard. Like I said, he's very sharp. He's very confident, and I think he proved that tonight. And it was important for us because I think he made a couple of really big saves for us as well.
And Paolo's been relatively quiet this season. How big was it for him not to just get a goal, obviously to help win the game, but just to kind of get him back on track and get him going?
Yeah, look, I got a soft spot for Naga. He's a winner to me. He's a guy that when I became the coach the next year, is a guy that I really went after. I kind of wanted, when I was a technical director here, I was trying to get him years before when I wasn't even a coach. He was just a guy I couldn't get. So I think he's got an incredible winning mentality. He's a fantastic professional. He's a good leader within the guys, and all the guys respect him. So I never doubt that he's going to come in the game and give everything he has. I mean, he's 5'0", and he's going up a guy who's 6'4", and it's his first action of the game. He's trying to win the header. It's just the way that he competes, and I think it's big for the rest of our players when he's out there.
Tim, when did you first find out that you'd be starting tonight? What was just your initial reaction to that?
I told him right before we were going out to the field.
In the tunnel, he told me. I was surprised. Now, we spoke about it a few days ago. He just said exactly what he said to you guys. You've been sharp, and you're going to get your opportunity, and run with it.
What was kind of your reaction to hearing that you'd be getting this opportunity?
I was excited. I mean, obviously, that doesn't happen a lot. So I'm grateful for the opportunity that Peter gave me to change a goalkeeper like that, because there are not many coaches that will not do that. So I was excited. Obviously, you have some nerves, but you just go out there and do your job.
He really said it's about time.
We saw Dom as a pretty good chance there. Is confidence starting to enter the equation for him as he start to rack up a little bit?
I said this before, is that it's easy to say, look, every time he doesn't score, the question's going to come out is he getting in form? Is he getting close? You can ask a lot of questions about it. The one thing I like about Dom is that there's a lot of guys that play up front, goal-scoring type players, that when they start to maybe not score some goals here or there, they stop running into the positions that are the difficult ones to then score. They want to stay away because they don't want to be put in that position, and listen, I got a lot of good chances, so if I don't score, it's no big deal. He still maintains trying to get there. He's always putting himself in those positions, and so I like the courage that he has, and as long as he keeps that up and he keeps working, he'll get his goals, no doubt about it.
On the other hand, Benny set that up. He set up 2 or 3 potential goals. How well did you assess his performance today?
Yeah, Benny, I'll say it in Spanish, he's got grande cojones. And I say that because, and it's the only way that I can put it out there, and that is because in big moments in games, Benny always winds up being a guy that stands up. You know, he sticks his head up, and that's an important thing to have on the team. When you're in big moments in games, guys can do that, and Benny's one of those guys. And you know, what's I think for the coaching staff, what is very rewarding is when you know you work with a guy like Benny, who maybe at times had a difficulty to value certain aspects of the game, and now he does those things pretty regularly, and then he has a belief in them as well. It's not just as if he's just doing what you tell him to do. He actually believes in it now. He values it, and so his level of play, I think, has increased tremendously, and he's been a very important player for our team this season in the way that he's contributing on an every game basis.
Tim, you came to Kansas City as a pool guy last year. One, how valuable was that experience working with Kansas City last year to get familiar with the guys? And two, does it make it a little extra sweeter to be a former pool keeper to now have a club home and to come and turn a performance like this?
I think obviously it was a good opportunity. It was an awkward situation to say the least, but I was glad to come to a club like this because it gave me a new lease on life with soccer, because Chivas was a grind, and anyone who knows anything about Chivas knows that. So coming here, it just helps me mentally, and it was a place I wanted to be at.
Locker room's open, thanks.
Thank you.